What are Washington, D.C.'s gun laws?
DC's gun laws right at the moment are very strict. DC basically does have a ban on handgun possession. This ban was enacted in 1976 overwhelmingly by the DC Council. And basically what it amounts to is this. As of 1976, no new pistols or handguns have been registered in the city. And the city also at that time enacted very stringent safety and storage laws for firearms in the home. Firearms kept in the home in the district have to be unloaded and then either trigger locked or disassembled. And the intent of that law was to protect children within the home. And one of the results of that specific provision has been that DC has had a very low suicide rate by firearms. So that has been the intent of that law. As to how effective DC's gun laws are, the gun lobby frequently likes to blame the level of gun violence in the district on DC's gun laws. But one interesting thing is when you actually go in and look at the data in terms of the crime guns that are found in the district, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives released data just this year in 2007, released data for 2006, and that data revealed that of crime guns that turn up in DC and that are used, to intimidate, injure, maim, and kill people in the district, only 4% come from the district. 96% of the guns that are crime guns in the district are illegally trafficked in from outside states. And two of the primary source states for DC's crime guns are Maryland, which accounts for 25% of our crime guns, and Virginia, which account for another 25% of our crime guns. And when you look at the law in the states that are the source of our crime guns, you will find gun laws that are far looser, far more lax than the gun laws we see in the district. A very good example is Virginia. A criminal or a firearm trafficker who moves firearms illegally can go to a gun show in Virginia and literally buy as many handguns or as he or she wants, or as assault rifles as he or she wants, without a background check through a private sale. They could also buy those guns through an internet sale or a classified ad in a Virginia newspaper. So you're talking about very, very lax laws. You're talking about criminals who are well aware of how to evade background checks and literally get guns without any paperwork whatsoever. And then it's a very simple matter simply to take those firearms and drive them across the DC border and then sell them to criminals or children or basically other parties who would be prohibited under federal law from buying those guns. So it's a real challenge for DC police. Basically DC cannot maintain the type of border security that would be necessary to prevent every traffic gun from reaching our city. You literally would have to check every car and person crossing our border. They have done an admirable job of taking those guns off the street once they find them. In 2006, the DC police took 2,655 illegal firearms off our streets. So they are doing an admirable job of protecting our residents and taking those illegal guns off the streets when they do find them. At the same time, if you look over the past 10 years at DC's homicide rate, over the past 10 years, that homicide rate has been steadily declining. It's been going down. There was a time during the drug wars in the late 80s, early 90s in DC, when we had more than 400 homicides a year in the city. In 2006, that number was reduced to 168. So I think when you look at DC's gun laws and the job the DC police have been doing, I think you can say a few things. Number one, the DC police have been doing an admirable job in taking guns off our streets and in reducing that homicide rate. At the same time, it's become abundantly clear that DC officials, who have had so many struggles just maintaining their own home rule and controlling their own local policies, particularly in the wake of the Supreme Court challenge to DC's gun laws, DC's officials are unable to control gun laws in other jurisdictions, like in Virginia, Maryland, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and all these other states that traffic firearms into the district. That is something that these other states must address, or that must be addressed at a federal level. So to blame DC's gun laws for the level of gun violence we see in DC is very disingenuous, because again, DC is only accounting for 4% of the crime guns that are being used to harm our residents. 96% come from other jurisdictions. On the same hand, there's also a lot of false, rumors that go out about DC being the murder capital of the nation. Well, that's not true either. Folks in the gun lobby will frequently claim that we are the murder capital, or that states with loose gun laws have lower violent crime rates. One interesting that we did recently actually was that we looked at FBI data just for 2004, and we discovered right off the bat that Richmond, Virginia, and New Orleans, Louisiana both have higher crude murder rates than Washington, D.C. In the case of New Orleans, a significantly higher crude murder rate. And when you look at those two states, those are two states, again, that have extremely lax gun laws. So frequently we'll see comparison between states like Virginia that have very large rural areas and a city like DC, which is pretty unfair because you're comparing a strictly urban area to an area with a large rural population. But when you really look at cities, when you look at urban areas, like as I said before, Richmond, Virginia, or New Orleans, you will find that a lot of these rumors about DC having a far higher crude murder rate or homicide rate than other cities with laxer gun laws is simply not true.